The memoirs of the clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved.
Oh, that's a little pea pod.
But no sooner
Yeah, it was the case from last time.
saved that
Or last
Eastern
game.
student from his harrowing plight. Then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight, did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Just a second. Let me. I clicked a window. There we go. Okay. Let me get the name. Oh, hey there, Dragon. Welcome. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across from the sea in the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. No, dang it! Twitch, or not Twitch, Discord. Discord had a little pop-up that came up in the stream. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultation of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since our particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Happy New Year to you as well, Dragon. Dragon wished us both Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. Must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. You remember this case, Dragon? Yeah, case 2 of the second game. Yeah, Happy New Year, Shady.
Whew. Bruno. Good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning.
Shh. Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow.
Dragon, this is your second favorite case of this game yet? It is a good case. I haven't quite finished the game yet, but I plan to start with back up in like the next week or two. And Shady said like the hair inheritance. Hope things are going well.
Haha! I win.
Of course, Shady would notice it.
I mean, I guess so. My reveal has come. Give me a second.
He's seen you in person enough times.
Yeah. You fools. I had you all fooled.
That wasn't even his final form.
Wasn't even my final form.
This is.
This one is, yeah.
unfortunately.
Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes.
Yes, I see. Oh, so that's it.
Shady said, damn you, Frieza. Oh, Dragon said I did notice he looked different. Okay. Fair.
Yeah, Shad insisted that most people wouldn't even comment.
The truth is as clear to me as today. My faculties of observation have revealed it again.
What are you talking about?
You, Mr. Naruto, this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt. Someone reminiscent of a bird's nest.
I take offense to that.
Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning.
Can I talk now?
But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand.
My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you.
Oh, it has?
And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Harry pulled your button off? Oh, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place.
Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket.
And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes.
Helpful.
What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
Also, it's funny to think that Shom's first gut instinct is to rip a button. It's like, I'm mad! Ka! Like, excuse me?
I don't know. I think that's a pretty great instinct to relieve your anger.
Okay, chat, remind me never to wear a button-up shirt and or pant around Chad ever again.
Oh yeah, because I'm gonna reach down. No.
I'm angry! God! My instinct is now they're gonna rip a button up. But, I mean, we'll leave it for the after-hours stream.
Excuse me.
Really? Really said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Well, that really is a surprise.
Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
All right then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold.
Dragon just recited ripped my pants, but ripped my shirt from SpongeBob, the song.
When Big Larry came was just to put him down. SpongeBob turned into a clown, and no one
Okay, we don't want to get DMCA'd by Nick.
By SpongeBob.
So they've done greedier things.
I have a new herbal tea for you to try, too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is published in Rance magazine. We're not going to mention her PhD? Okay, sure.
Yeah, she has a doctorate at Tech.
Like, that's more impressive. Like, a doctorate in medicine is a little more impressive than being, like, in a magazine.
Yeah, writing a serialized novel in a magazine. Yikes.
Oh, so, Miss Naruto, why don't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning?
Well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right. She had some rather startling news, in fact.
Ah, intriguing indeed.
Dinosaur's back.
You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Did I use the dragon last time too? There's some of the other
Maybe
ones.
I don't know. Maybe he's a different one. I just remember hand puppets. Okay.
Oh, yes. What fun.
Dragon just said, "Omae wa mo shinderu."
Nani?
Okay.
Let's find the button.
And the button. I think all the text is different because we're in a different game now. When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearths light all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about.
But fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really, no use at all.
Dragon asked, "Whoa, was that Ridley?" I think one of your puppets.
Maybe.
Rather, like a good detective in days of no crime and no criminals, Haley?
But consider this instead of a fireplace. A frost place. That's my latest idea. An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think?
I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history.
Yes, quite. It would condition the air. I wonder what I would call it. The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth.
Of course, a cold fire, sure. Yes, of course, brilliant.
The trouble is, none of the fires I've built ever been cold. How it haunts me.
So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib.
It's a bit of a damn squib.
Isn't that an offensive term in Harry Potter?
Yeah, squib is a person born from magical parentage that does not have magic themselves.
Dang, this game's like breaking out offensive magical terms.
Yum, 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 yum.
Trillo Quest. Dragon called you Trillo Quest. That's
Me?
That's the ventriloquist from that's the ventriloquist dummy from
yeah,
the
Trillo
second
and
game.
Quist, I think, were their names.
No,
right?
Ben and Trillo.
Ben and Trillo.
Quest were the last name. Ben and Trillo Quest.
Oh, ha ha ha.
Yes, the huge metal chest with the lace cloth laid on it, being used as a fake table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut.
Firmly grasp it.
The chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases.
Yes, so I've been led to believe, though personally I've never actually seen inside.
And that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening out invited, you might find yourself being bitten.
What, is there a beast in there or something? These are different pieces of evidence from cases you've solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes?
Not quite, Miss Naruto, not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've sold with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my many successes. Memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories.
Really? So tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured.
I forget.
Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes, wonderful. Let's see here. Check Sholmes' side. Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Mr. Sato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess.
Susie might not be able to stand a mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves.
Oh, why not?
Everything is in intricate balance. Haley spent ages on it, really. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole thing would come tumbling down. Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the outset.
You make it sound like I'm meeting a great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up.
Tidy up?
The machine really is imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name.
Haley calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything at all.
That doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean?
An extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you care to present it. But how to interpret those results, that's the key, and I confess I have no idea. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem.
That might not help. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous? Iris?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Yeah, I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Bruno. Rude.
Her voice is a little lower than usual. But didn't you buy it? But didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes?
I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label.
What?
The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, it has something of a turn for shopping, Sherlock Sholmes, bargain hunter.
But is it really a Stradivarius then?
But of course, my dear fellow. It says so on the label.
I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Wow, Sholmes got scammed.
I mean, it says it's a Stradivarius on it.
There's so many different bottles up there on that charming little set of white shelves.
Oh dear, do be careful, Bruno. You mustn't try the contents of any of those bottles, even if you're hungry.
I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know.
Well, I wish I could say the same for Harley. The other day he polished up to a full bottle of one of my alkaloids.
He what?
He said he was hungry.
Be extra careful.
That can't be good.
He's fine. Maybe. I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day.
Oh, well, I use a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice.
When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time.
Ah, yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel joy, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat.
That sounds ominous.
I can type with my eyes shut, you know.
I can believe it. When the deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun.
That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
That's incredible.
But then, when it got right, I found there wasn't any paper in the machine. Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might have just fallen asleep on the job. Okay. Oh, missed this. Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle.
Yes, it's from a case of theft that Haley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see. Especially if it's cut with a rounded top.
I'm picturing Garnet from Steven Universe with a rounded top.
Carbuncle, amethyst, and Earl.
Earl? Oh, really?
Earl.
And this garnet was blue, was it?
Well, that's the thing, they're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered.
Oh.
So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's a real mystery of the case.
A proper Herlock Sholmes conundrum, Okay, let's talk to Mr. Sholmes himself. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post.
Oh, how lovely! Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask?
She's very well, thank you. And in fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
I cut above your good self, my dear fellow.
I've won cases too, you know.
I was gonna say, that's kind of rude.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness.
Natsume. No, I don't recall that name.
Of course you do, we helped the man, twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago.
Ah, the mustached twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and mustache?
He did have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Though I must confess, the details are a little hazy now.
A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Startling news.
So, what was this startling news penned by Mr. Zato?
Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that the case of that nature did not occur.
He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Mr. Zato asked if we read over her case notes again and investigate further.
Though it took place half a year ago, For what purpose?
Because of something Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have to do with the case of that haunted lodgings.
Oh.
On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mrs. Zato's father questioned her about the case, she says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript for publication, too. But then Harley here was all funny about it, remember?
Oh, that last sentence cut out.
He was very mean. That story should not be published, you said. Very mysterious as well.
Really? I said that. Are you sure?
Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Suzato suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she suddenly announced that she was to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe.
That's right, telling her to return urgently.
Yes, because her father had passed away.
No. It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. Wonder what Mrs. Zeta's father is hiding.
Harley, do you know what it's all about?
Wow, that's a very strong mic.
Why?
Because we can hear the rattling. I'm surprised. Yeah.
Well, who can say?
What? But you said...
Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar's quite surprisingly full today. An astringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel. Even if I were quite at leisure. So, mend the force of my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Harley. Don't you worry. See you later.
He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found him at last.
Iris, are they...
The notes about the case, that's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodging. Do you want to read them, Bruno?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I've no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read it over in the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what had happened to our investigation in that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain.
What?
You said it a little before.
What?
It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. Yes, Dragon said time for a flashback.
My little peapod.
A young woman was found lying on her snowy pavement of Brow Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attack her, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. Shady said he was hoping it was Windabank. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Shrums. What are you gonna say?
The game just retcons Windabank's death in every single case to be related.
The great Windabank attorney. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Suzato-san and I decide to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence.
That's an accent shift.
Did I?
Am I voicing this?
No, because I was voicing him during this event. Jubilation. Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilation was short-lived.
His jubilant jubilation.
Dragon said the final case in the first case was wild, though. Yeah, that case was wild. We received a telegram from Mr. Shrums the following morning. The victim of the Brow Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Barts at once.
That was a spot-on impression of Shrums.
Well, he wasn't even trying. So Suzato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. A hansom? What's a hansom?
Summoned a handsome. It's a very attractive man.
We summoned a very attractive man and went to the hospital.
Philippe, this way. Like, Oja.
It's Philippe German?
Listen, he's a bohemian man.
St. Bartholomew's Hospital recovery ward.
Oh, that would have been a better one. Bartholomew. A hansom is a two-wheeled, horse-drawn carriage accommodating two inside while the driver is seated behind.
Just say a carriage.
So Suzato and I entered a motored wagon. It's like, excuse me?
Suzato and I entered a... crap, I already forgot what the Japanese things are.
A rickshaw?
Yeah, an English rickshaw.
Suzato and I entered the non-flying airplane. There you are at last!
Good morning, Mr. Shrums.
I think not. Oh, you're late. What took you so long? Your telegram. I wasn't expecting her.
They just said they're flashed back to the case 6 months ago.
So this case happened before the final case of The first game?
Yeah, right. They said this is like immediately after the second to last case of the first game.
So we just skipped it. It's like
because
remember
Sholm said nobody is to talk about it ever again,
including our own memory.
Well, they couldn't talk about it to themselves. Like
They promised Sholmes to not talk about it to themselves.
It's the ultimate way to retcon a case. Though honestly, I feel these two games were written together, so they probably already planned this. But
remember when we streamed the entirety of Danganronpa together? It was great.
Oh yeah, a body has been discovered.
And
that's all I know about it.
Monokuma was spot on. It was such a good stream. You all remember, right, viewers? If you remember us streaming Danganronpa in its entirety, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and spam Monokuma in the chat. It's something about despair.
Okay, Susanna.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say Junko Enoshima, and then just be like, "Ha! See, it's a reference."
Yeah,
I don't even remember her accent.
We haven't done Danganronpa yet either, Dragon. Don't worry.
No, we totally did, and then when we do, we're gonna pretend like it's all flashback.
Inheritance, stop gaslighting me.
You can't say that while I'm drinking.
Your telegram.
That's not her.
Your telegram.
You haven't voiced her since the start of December because you didn't voice her in the last case.
Yeah, I haven't voiced her in months.
Not a month. It's been roughly a month.
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. It was a 25-minute ride to the hospital.
And actually, you voiced her last time in a escapade.
I do not recall.
It was the one with Gregson having to find that they talked about taxes.
Oh, they do. We learned all about the tax.
Yeah, right. She talked a lot about the taxes in Japan and stuff.
You're right. I'm sure I messed it up then too. So we'll figure it out. We'll workshop it. I already said my line. Go ahead.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made a very good time.
The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what felt like an eternity.
Dragon, I voiced Ryutaro. Oh, Dragon wasn't there. No, I voiced Ryutaro, Dragon. Because I voiced the defense attorneys.
And I voiced the prosecutors.
Yeah. Inheritance got to voice her father, Mikotoba.
Yeah, and I also had to voice Soseki Natsume.
Yeah, he also voiced Natsume. We had some swapped roles for those two episodes.
It was jubilates.
Feel free to check the VODs if you're curious. Though they'll eventually be on YouTube also, but that's
it was a journey.
Like a while off.
It was a journey, I'll tell you that.
In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such hours, I sent one to you.
Well, thanks for that.
Anyway, you're here now, so the victim's over there, and she's only just regained consciousness.
Yeah, Dragon, Ouchie's return was magnificent. I hope you have a voice ready. There it is.
I'm filled with joy.
You probably never expected you'd voice her.
I never. Oh, this is such a gift. I literally got goosebumps.
Aren't you glad we got this retcon case?
It's so good. Oh, I gotta calm down. Oh,
my little pea pod. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here.
Oh, look at her!
So that's the lady who was found in the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back.
Ah! Her name is, yes, here we are, Miss Green.
Renosuke just goes up to her and is like, "So you don't always have a knife in your back?" His attempt to break the ice. Yep, it's olive green, Dragon. Look, there's a photograph in the frame here.
Yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's a special someone, do you think?
My, Mr. Naruto. I didn't know you had a sense for the matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruto.
Probably not, Dragon.
It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
How rude.
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. You can't just say that, Susato.
You can't just ask people why they're full-figured. Ugh.
Hey! And no, Cicero, respects!
Vermin in a hospital. That doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you're thinking. Vermin is such a loaded word. I guess. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine when you're half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you're half asleep as well.
There are limits to even what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Susato. This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Now, you can't just read these! Do not feed. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical by local park.
For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. Hope she hasn't read this. This looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear. How worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet, look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were Peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Susato.
Sleep and hunger. Lest you be in the same room as Ryonosuke when he goes to sleep hungry.
Or he'll open you!
He'll open you! Ah!
Good morning.
Ah!
Hello, I'm, Ryonosuke Naruto from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no! you command her?
Before we continue, are you committed to that voice? That's gonna be a lot of your voice.
And
Yeah, I think so.
Does she speak a lot?
Assume every character speaks a lot.
I'll figure it out.
Shit, he said a young old bag. Is that you?
It's me, Mr. Green.
No, I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Miss Susato Mikatova. Pleased to meet you. I didn't know. What? Was it your knife then? Are you the one? Oh, no, I assure you. I'm just an judicial assistant.
Dragon said I would give her a more proper voice. What's not proper about that?
I mean, that's the most proper voice I've ever given a character, in my opinion.
We've heard that you've regained consciousness and wanted to come and give you our best wishes. The best wishes for me, Detective. I'm Olive. I agree. I'm an artist. No, that's not right. It's it. I mean, I'm trying to be an artist.
Oh yeah, I didn't give you a prompt, did I?
You did not, so that's what happens when you don't give me a prompt.
Everybody can do it.
Prompt is insecure.
Oh, fair. In that case.
Oh, well, that's not right, is it? I mean, what I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. But what you really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's that one time I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually.
Is that a better voice for her?
Hey, this is up to you.
Does Dragon approve of that second voice?
Dragon, do you approve of that voice?
Clearly.
Also,
Shady.
Dragon said, "Ouchie's wife in the making."
Yeah.
He said yes, he approves of the voice.
I do sometimes. Gosh, this young woman seems to be bent over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I
Oh,
suppose.
my little pea pod. I love her so much.
To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid he'd been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
indeed it was, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Sherlock Holmes.
Herlock Sholmes.
Sherlock Holmes! But
The shows, as you well know, Mr. Inherytance was hard working court had solved the case.
sorry, I got too excited. I flipped my name around. Isn't that silly? Haha.
Yeah, that doesn't even sound like a name. Sherlock Holmes.
That's
Ridiculous.
such a weird sounding name. Only an idiot would be named Sherlock Holmes.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman for the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to make everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. Oh no! We're also relieved that you're on the mend. We are.
How selfish of me to regain consciousness. With that kind of attitude, maybe her name should be Blue, not Green.
I'll just stab myself in the back and that'll make everyone happy. Sure.
So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh no, I can possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Art.
Taffa?
Oh my!
I'm actually now curious the Thorndike, if it's anything.
If it's a real place.
Or if it's meant to be a reference to something. I don't think so.
An Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Yeah, not finding anything.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live here? Where do you live hereabouts? Do you live hereabouts?
Oh, no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no! Is it?
Brixton is some 10 stops away from the underground from here.
Oh, give me a second. My antivirus just popped open.
Uh-uh.
Oh, and it closed real quick. I'm surprised. Very good.
And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton's town centre.
Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes?
Perhaps not, but Briar Road is far less salubrious. But Briar Road is a far less salubrious town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means, I suppose Saseki-san does fit the bill.
It struck me as out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district.
I made one of my characters' voice. Don't be rude! You're making fun of my voices.
Yeah, tell me I talk like this. I don't know if I could do that.
Not sponsored. I got a beverage.
That's all.
You're gonna say that every time?
Not sponsored.
What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying in on a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh, dear me, do forgive me.
If you don't mind, discharge short.
Wow,
I need to pack up my things.
a lot of that cut out.
Yeah, that's why she made it sound like this, because I never get out. Yes.
It's the truth! I don't!
You've gotten cut out with every spectrum.
I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yes, of course. Won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. But it's also only the second time we really cut out this episode, so. Is there Mr. Neurofodder here? Mr. Neurofodder! Neurofodder now? Well, if you're looking for Norohodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Ah, Mr. Neurofodder. Good. This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutmeg. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me.
Can either of you, can anybody in the chat make their next D&D character?
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that I want to play a halfling named Saucy Nutmeg. Can't even say that.
Saucy Nutmeg. Make them a bard.
Everything's a bard when it's a funny name.
Seduce everything.
You want the sauce?
You want my sauce, my special sash? It's catching everything.
But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on here? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at the time like this morning? At this time in the morning.
Oh, what are you waiting for? Let me see that!
Oh,
Oh, well, this is most unexpected.
something wrong, Mr. Sholmes.
There's something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note?
No, how could I have?
It seems that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls, a case of murder no less. We must depart at once.
Getting right into it.
Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. Call Bartholomew.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit to his lodgings once we did.
That would be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the notes, my dear friend. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodging.
Wait, what?
Oh, that's the joke. The joke was that they just call random.
You gotta say the line!
I'll hail a fiacre at once!
I gotta look what that is, though. A small four-wheeled carriage for public hire. They're just gonna slowly call more and more obscure modes of transportation.
That's literally the joke. We didn't even have to make that joke. The game made it for us.
We made the whole bit, and then the game was like, yeah, no, we already thought of that.
Yeah.
Why do we even do bits?
There's no point. There's no point. Guys, let's go play the game.
It was only yesterday that Suzuki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the old man's address. May very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we are soon to discover it was worse than we thought.
He was the murder victim.
And the accused!
And then by finding him
And
not
the
guilty-
defendant!
Ah!
And the judge.
And not the prosecutor.
No, the prosecutor has to obviously be Von Zeeks, so...
He only takes cases where Ryanosuke is.
Yeah.
The person.